On today's episode of the CLS Experience, we have a very special treat. He's a Renaissance man who reinvented himself and had success in many different arenas. He's a super entrepreneur, actor, musician, and iconic jeweler. He signed Jay-Z to his first record deal and will forever be part of the hip-hop industry. He's the CEO and founder of IF & Co. and is the world-class jeweler to the most elite actors and entertainers, making pieces for Drake, Tom Cruise, and the legendary Michael Jackson, just to name a few. Simply put, he's an icon and one of the best jewelers to ever do it. He's the host of the phenomenal show Beyond the Boulder podcast and was absolutely meant to be behind the mic. He's just an overall juggernaut in all facets of life and a terrific husband and father. Please welcome the resilient, dynamic, creative, unorthodox, and innovative, extraordinary Ben Baller. How you doing, Ben?
How you doing, man? That's a hell of an intro right there.
Listen, my man, and like I always say to all the guests and a lot of our mutual friends, it's your life, brother. You wrote it. I just said it.
You know, it's different when someone else says it, right? It's not a fake resume, you know. It's I don't know why, for some reason, that one hit different. You know, I've seen it many times being said, whether it be in the news or anything, but that was different. That was, thank you. That was, it's all true. I'm just saying it just hit different for some reason this time.
To be honest with you, I could feel your energy and I could tell you took a moment to receive it, but as you should, brother, you should receive all of that. And not just a Cliff Notes version of all the cool things,
no, for sure.
The impact. Yeah, you made a gigantic impact, brother. But I put a lot of effort into it, so I appreciate you saying that.
No, man, it's you know, we live in a different time and age where we really live in the participation trophy era, where people are really getting an award for some bullshit. And again, look, eventually one day probably YouTube may take over, you know, ABC, NBC, CBS, who knows what, but I'm just saying, like, at the same time, just because you're creating content at home doesn't mean you know, there needs to be a certain, you know, not necessarily a gauge. I want a more special word than that. But, you know, there's committees, there's people that vote on things and certain things. It's like, you know, you can't get an Academy Award. It just, and, you know, it's a weird thing where that bar is starting to kind of get lost. And I'm just happy for you know, the milestones, the accolades I've reached in my life. You know, they're certified. They're there forever. And I appreciate them, you know.
Yes, it's quite the legacy, brother. But the best part about you is you're just getting warmed up.
maybe, man. You know, you know, a lot of people who get to know me, they'll say, "You're like your mom, man. You know, you can never stop." And my mom is about almost 80. She's 79, and she even, the doctor's like, "Hey, man, if you got to chill. Like, you gotta stop jogging so much. You're messing up your heart rate. You got to chill out, whatever." My mom always has to do something. And as lazy as I feel I get sometimes, my mind is always racing. And my mind is the most powerful thing that I have. So when the mind is telling the mouth what to do, or the hands, whatever it may be, you know, sometimes in my mind, I work harder than anybody who's working 24 hours in a field or something like that. So the people who do know me, they say, "Oh, man, you always talk about retiring. You always talk about giving up, or, you know, doing whatever and being a dad, and you're going to get so bored." And I'm telling you, I am not going to get bored. You know, I have really put in, you know, my 25, 30,000 hours. You know, I really do want to be, you know, this is why I'm at where I'm at. I just kind of, I'm ready to be at the end, but at the same time, it doesn't mean I'm giving up on life. It just means I'm taking, you know, a different part of my life. Some people are really good at being dads and still being able to run a successful company and still being able to do this and do that. I've really juggled, you know, 4 different occupations at the current time right now during the pandemic, being the dad, being the husband. And it's time to focus on being the dad, like, for real, full time, something I enjoy. And so when you say it's not over, I mean, just getting started, sometimes I feel that way. But, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. The podcast is 2.5 years old. And this may sound crazy. You know, we've won some awards. We've hit the top charts. I still feel like I haven't even got started. Like, I feel like I just began this journey. So that's when it's all said and done with everything else, and I am the washed up dad full time. I think the podcast stays until I'm 60, 70, whatever it may be.
I think so too. And also, just to touch upon what you just said, like that's one of the many traits that have made you so successful is you have that mentality, but like I've never arrived. Like you're never complacent. So even though you're having all the success that you're having with the podcast, you still feel like you have so much to prove. And I think that's one of the reasons why you've been so successful in so many different areas.
Yeah, I had it's interesting. I know that this is, technically, business and things like that, as far as your show topics and your show in general, but it's something important that should be talked on any business podcast. I don't care if this was The Hill, if this was Newsweek, if this was NPR, if this was anything. A month ago, I lost my Instagram account due to some hacker bot reports. They said I had posted, I had allegedly attempted to sell or gift cannabis. I own a cannabis business. I mean, what's the definition of success? There are successful businesses that still haven't taken a positive income, right? But there's like tricky things that people don't understand. But I do own a cannabis business. I've been in the business for a long time. I was in it before it was legal. I have no problem telling people that. But I'm very compliant. That's the thing that people don't get. There's people who aren't compliant in many different ways, whether they're paying the taxes, whether they're doing certain things. And I just feel like at this time in an age of where I'm at, people are looking for a reason to stop me or cancel me. So I'm going to do everything in my power to just stay in bounds. And the reason why I feel like this is such an important thing to talk about, it's the first time I'm talking about it on anyone's thing, besides my own show, is I have Twitter, I have Facebook, I've been verified on every possible platform, even TikTok I'm verified. And I only verified my TikTok because I just didn't want anybody to do scams on there. There's a lot of scams going on there.
Correct.
But when it comes to the driving force of what's paying people, Instagram is really what people get paid from. If you're getting if you're thinking about money wise, there's big campaigns on TikTok, but still if you really compare tit for tat, IG is just gonna be a bigger driving force because I've seen it firsthand. And with that said, I thought no big deal. I've always had a plug at Facebook, and this time, it was down for a few days, and then it became a week. And then my agent was like, "Hey, man, not for nothing. We sell you on the fact that your engagement is so high, that your fan base is so crazy, and this, and this. And here's the A to Z. A through U is Instagram, and my agent's pretty cool, big agency, represent Derek Jeter, Tiger Woods, all the way to young guys like Jokic and people like that. And they're like, it's one thing if it's a couple $100,000, it's like $6-7 million in ads, Ben, we got to figure this out. So I'm like, shit. The one that hurt me the most was one of my biggest sponsors is a liquor brand. And I was co-hosting the NFL with them. The Super Bowl with them.
Okay.
They're an enormous sponsor of the NFL. Now, my account was down during the Super Bowl. So I was set to lose $500,000 right there. We were able to pivot in different ways. And because I've been such a great partner and I've gone above and beyond what they've asked, we're able to kind of shift it to different things. But the point I'm making is I had, without any true knowledge of really thinking about it, given so much power to Facebook or Meta, and they had so much control over my livelihood. And it terrified me for a second because I thought hey, you know what? I've had a great 2 weeks of vacation. One of my dreams, I've said on many podcasts, I said, my dream is to get rid of all my social media. I idolize anybody who doesn't use it, whatever. And of course, I could still be a jeweler. I still have a brick and mortar. I have a location, I have a store, and I have other things. I have a podcast that was never intentionally done to make money. It was done to another platform that was more you can't take my podcast out of context. Excuse my language. If you leave if I left a comment on your page, hey, Craig, fuck off, man. How do you say that in a text? It's impossible. The algorithm's going to catch that Ben Baller said fuck you to whatever or fuck off. There's no way to really catch that tone in your voice. Like, you're just messing around. Like, go to hell. Like, why'd you tell me to go to hell? I'm like, no, dude, I'm joking. I'm just saying go to hell. So like all these things on a podcast, you're never gonna misinterpret my energy.
It's true.
So when I lost my account, I started realizing that nobody wanted to help. Even people I had at Facebook, they were getting appeals turned down. I had to get an attorney involved. And I spoke to a friend of mine who has like 10 million followers, and she was like, I'm having a baby for the first time. I'm the breadwinner of my family. I take care of my husband, and we're all pretty much relying on my thing. She goes, I used to be really big with my website, whatever. I have a few brands, very successful. But she's like, if Instagram pulled the plug on me right now, like, and you never know when timing, right? Like I was like, hey man, it could have been any time, but right before the Super Bowl, when I'm about to get this, like one of my biggest campaigns,
yeah,
she said the same thing. She's about to give birth to her child, and she's documenting it, whatever. And that was never a thing with me, but now she's about to pivot into maternity stuff, and she said, then I would die. And I was like, that's fucking sad. I was like, that's really terrible. And she was like, I'm just letting you know, like, I don't know what I would do. It freaked me out. So on the third week, at like 2 or 3 in the morning, my kids are asleep, my wife's asleep. I come down to my office and I start going through my numbers. I'm like, look, I could be retired. F it. Now, I'd be on a fixed income. I figure it out. I could do some minimal things here and there. At the end of the day, I'm still going to have 2 very nice homes. I'm still going to have a business. If I want to, I can still podcast and pivot that way, strengthen that somehow. I always figure out something. I just don't like chasing clout, or doing clown shit to get the views, whatever. And I said, all right, well, is this it? Because it really got to that point. I refused to make a backup page and everything else. Got my attorney involved. My attorney said, I wish you told me the day that it happened, because you can't fuck around with this. This is that serious now. It's affected this much, and think about it if it kept going. Within 48 hours, I got my page back. Throughout that week of me really having like that epiphany, like, oh man, this is insane, I really realized I don't want to be in that position ever again.
No.
So one, any cannabis content, even if it's like, it was very hard. It was a bot was catching the algorithm. There was no human review. I'm just going to avoid it completely. I have other things, other ways to promote that.
Sure.
But I'm going to continue posting my brand as a father and a husband more than pushing the other stuff, because I don't want people to be force-fed ads and things. But it freaked me out, because on a business level, if I'm set to lose $6 or $7 million from not having my Instagram, I'm like, damn, this is really effed up. So now that I have it back, been very gradual about certain things, let people know where I'm at. Boom, I have to do certain things to kind of get, the algorithms back, get my engagement back. And I've talked to my producers. I'm like, hey, listen, we need to strengthen this podcast up, because I can't get canceled there. I'm fully independent and get it going. No offense to anyone who has a deal, because I'm even shopping deals, but it just kind of like, wow, I was like, now my life expectancy as far as business goes was cut abruptly short. And I was really like, wow, this is such a crazy thing. I don't know how people talk about it, but whether you're a news reporter or a teacher that has 3,000 followers, maybe a 14, and you don't really rely on it. I never thought I really relied on it, because I've already, my fans are pretty loyal. The only thing was, so many people didn't know what was going on, and it takes a while. It's like, oh, what do I do? I can't go to DMs. Like, there's people who I talk to every day, and I realized, wow, I don't have Kevin Durant's phone number anymore. Like, we're literally talking through DM now. That's how certain things go. People always check their IG. It's funny like that.
Yes.
And so I just thought that was a really important thing, whether, that's part of the show or not. I just want to let you know, on a business level, it was terrifying.
That's a great point, brother. And like, it's scary. The word used, like how much control they have and how much businesses rely upon that. You don't want to ever be in that position where you're stuck.
No.
Yeah.
Suck, man. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I love you, buddy. Straight up. And I'm glad that you brought that up. We're going to jump around a little bit. The audience loves to get a background, but before we dive in, we're going to get a little weird. You ready to rock?
Let's go.
What's your superpower, Ben?
Fast talking. People always say you could sell ice to an Eskimo and sell, this and this, and people come with the most wittiest things. Oh, I can sell, ketchup popsicles to a lady in white gloves, whatever it may be. I just feel like I have a few very, very good talents. One is very creative. I've always been creative. Persistency is crazy, but my mouthpiece, like if I was blind and I was deaf, as long as I know that the words are coming out of my mouth and I can project them out. If you give me a bowl of rice in 30 minutes, I'm going to have a restaurant. Whether I got to hire somebody or figure it out, I'm going to figure it out, And so my superpower, I think, is making people believe, convincing people.
This, buddy. That's great. Gripping.
Yeah. It's not, people always like, oh, you ever thought about going to politics? No, absolutely not. I don't want to go into politics. But if anyone gives me 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to convince them that I'm, a world-class airline pilot, a boxer, you name it, anything. I mean, I just can, but I mean, when it really comes down to it, like things that I actually do, whether it be jewelry, cannabis, podcasting, prior, things with sneakers and anything that's in my interest, I know that I could create a job there. I could work for somebody. I could go any which way. Yes. I could work for you. I could work for somebody. If you tell me you have a department that's going to deal with sports or sneakers or something, bro, trust me, I have created almost all my jobs.
You're going to get results. And it reminds me of something. I was doing my homework on you because number one, I wanted to show the conversation the respect it deserves. Number two, I'm straight up a fan, brother. And I heard you talking about you were watching a Korean movie once. And it basically said, those who know how to win are going to win. You, my friend, know how to win.
Yeah. And it's funny because that movie right there, when I heard that, the movie's called Ajushi, right? When I heard that, it was a whole different level. Like, I want to say LeBron has it, and he has it sometimes, but someone who I've never liked. And when I'm talking about I never liked, and there was a reason why I never liked Tom Brady. I hated him. I've seen all the other crazy shit. You come back this, boom, the Atlanta game and this. It wasn't until last year when he went to Tampa Bay. I don't care what players you had. At the end of the day, there was definitely a lot of players that were better than those players that he had. He had a good offensive line. Bottom line is, I shut up. I gave him all his flowers. I gave him everything. I was like, yo, there was no stopping it. Like, I was like, there was almost no stopping it this year even. I was like, yo, when you know how to win, you're going to win. There's no one's going to stop. It doesn't matter where you are. That it's like that movie Warrior with the two brothers.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, the guy, I don't even watch MMA like that, but like, you got Tom Holland, who's like this.
One of my favorite movies that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah. And then you got his brother's a teacher, and whatever, just like what? But you knew the way that the story was, even the dad, how Nick Nolte was, they were going to end up, and there was no stopping it, and there was just like a thing. And that was what I mean. It's like, whether you come from a Division III college or you come from a junior college, something might be like, you may not be able to be coachable. You may not be whatever. When you do figure it out and you focus on that and you keep your head down, bro, you're going to the championship. You're just going to figure it out. And whether you keep on it or not, it's really all mental.
What a great analogy. Also with Tom Brady, like, he went to a new team in his first year, and that guy just has a maniacal drive. You have it also. And what a reference with the movie Warrior. Like, that was just a collision course, straight up. Yeah. This is awesome, buddy. It's funny because maybe we'll get you back on for a sequel. There's so much that we could talk about. I think your story is very well documented. So instead of like starting at the journey, for the audience, we just hit 1 million downloads. I urge you, if you're not familiar with Ben, go check out his stuff. But I think what will really provide the most value is we just had a great conversation with some talking points. We'll jump around a little bit. When you were in hip hop and you started making some money, you were working with Dr. Dre. And something that he told you that really stuck out to me that I thought was so cool is this: making it 1 million is easy, but keeping it is a whole different story.
I mean, what do you want to know about it? I mean, it's something that's stuck in my head forever. Like Dre's been coming up recently in my mind.
And also the Super Bowl you mentioned.
Yeah, and I work for one of my biggest partnerships, my biggest sponsors is Network. It's an app. It's like the home shopping network on an iPhone. It's like the QVC on an iPhone for streetwear, culture, art, everything. The app is majority owned by Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy Iovine is like probably, I would say, Dre's lifeline in a certain way. You know what I mean? He's one of the most powerful people in the music business ever. He owned Beats by Dre and everything. Him and Dre have done so many things together. At that moment, when Dre had told me that, I never thought about it at this much of a level, but told me that in '96. And there are points in times where I felt like, yo, this is gonna be a hit record. I got some points on here. All right, the money's gonna come. But I didn't become a millionaire until 2004, and not even from the music business, right? But I think that was obviously a part of it, right? Yeah, that definitely, a lot of things happen for, not by accident. People say, oh, things happen for a reason. I like to say, it wasn't by accident where I'm at right now and everything that I've done. I just felt like when I really thought about it, there were times where I thought I was so close to the money, and yet you realize there's no 80%, 90%. Oh my God, it was there. I almost got it. The check was about to go through and it whatever. No, dude, either you had it or you didn't. It's really that, it's that cut and dry. There is no gray area. You could discuss all this time. Hey man, guess what? Russell Westbrook had $40 million a year. He just messed it up, didn't show up for practice. Boom. No. Either money's in your bank account or it's not. And it's like, I thought about those times with Dre and even prior to that. And I realized the moment he gave me my first check, he was disgusted. What was I supposed to do to have money before? I was living beyond my means prior to that, making 6 figures a year, which was a shit ton of money in the 90s. I got a check for 100 and low 6 figures, low hundreds. I went and bought an M3 the next day. I was going to get it that night. Do you know what I mean? I was going to buy it that evening. I bought a diamond Rolex and a BMW the next day. Not like everyone else. You go to the office at 9 to 10 a.m. on the West Coast. You leave at 6. Sometimes there's stuff after. There might be a music show. There might be a club. You got to do whatever. With Aftermath, people didn't show up to the studio until like 12, 1 at earliest. And then we go until 3, 4 in the morning. So I had plenty of time to go to Century West BMW in North Hollywood, California, and go get my M3. And then I had I went to this place called JR's Diamonds or some shit in Sherman Oaks, California, right down the street from the studio. And I remember I pulled up as soon as I got both. And DR's Dre, right? We call him DR. And DR was like, there's 2 studios at Record One at the Aftermath Studios. And there's Studio A and Studio B. Studio A is like the Rolls Royce, big, all the tables where everyone could be in there. You could have like a group meeting in there, boom, But Studio B was the back studio. And a lot of people think that the best hits were made out of Studio B. So I know he's in Studio B. And I'm in the lounge that's attached to Studio A. And part of me is like, you know what? I'm not the only one who got a big check. Everyone got a check. So, fuck it. Now, mind you, he bought all of us an Expedition. Like 8 of us got Expeditions. That was a really hot SUV back then as a Ford car, right?
I remember.
And I guess he saw the black BMW M3 with chrome wheels. And I guess he asked Larry, who Larry might still be working for him, but Larry was like the general office manager, the studio manager. Any dirty work, he had to fire somebody, he would fire people. And I guess he asked Larry, he goes, yo, man, whose BMW is that? In the thing, and Dre pulls up in his Range Rover, and he's like, oh, that's Ben Yang's. He even say Ben Boy, that's Ben Yang's, and Dre goes, oh, it is. All right,
oh, it is.
Like 7, 8 hours goes by. He hasn't come in to say what's up to me, nothing, anything, and I'm also not trying to see him, Finally, he's like, hey man, what's up, dog? He's like, it's a nice car. Then he looks at my wrist and he goes, I know that's not what I think it is. And I was like, yeah, man, it's Rolex, dog, diamonds. And he's like, he said some some explicit shit I don't want to talk about now. It's less, it's sensitive subject. A lot of people don't like the N word. It's a very typical thing. But he called me the N word in the worst way, not even on like as a term of endearment. And he's like, yo, you're my Asian. There's things that you can do that a lot of us can't do. You're going to enter some doors and certain things because I'm just disappointed. I was like, what the fuck do you want me to do, bro? I wanted this shit. Everyone else got it. He goes, you know, some of these guys have gigantic hits. And he's like, I think you're there. You have a lot of talent. You've connected a lot of dots. You haven't had a hit yet. And I was like, all right, man. It went in one eye out the other, said what he said. And then I realized when he said what he said, I had already spent the $1 million in my mind. Place in Palisades or Malibu, this and that. I was already negative $2 million if I had $1 million, you know, like, and I was like, holy shit, that hits so different. That is such a powerful thing, you know? Think about what $1 million was in 1997, 1996, and think about what $1 million is in 2022.
Big difference.
I mean, you know, there's exotic cars, you know, in there's many exotic cars that would be that. And if you buy that, now what do you do about maintenance and insurance and things like that? Back then, you'd have a house, an exotic car, and a lot of other things, you know what I mean? And maybe even a condo, you know, at that time. So in perspective, I just think that people should understand how easy it is to spend the money that you got coming in. So you really have to taper that off. You have to, like, you know, like, I'm siphoning the hose, you know, I'm like really like taking it slow. So if someone sees me buy something today, even if it's a $1 million car, if it's a watch or something, even though I don't buy those type of cars, I do. But just know that that was 15, 20% of my check that week, you know, or that month at the very latest. There has to be some way. I'm not taking a negative month. I refuse to. Usually December to January, when I do those months, I realized, all right, I gave a lot of people bonuses. I gave my wife a really big gift every year, my mother-in-law, my mom, boom. So I kind of come down a little bit. But every other month, every month I'm up, and there's always growth. And when I don't come near growth, I start freaking out, and I got to figure out a way to pivot and get that going. So ever since hearing that word, it almost that term, you know, making $1 million is easy, keeping it ain't. It traumatized me into, you know, because I was broke 3 times. I became broke actually after I left Aftermath and moved in with my sister. And my sister's like, you're a fucking douchebag. Like, you live in my house. You know, you have a tiny little fucking 200 square foot room. You have a fucking $65,000 BMW car outside. And I'm just like, what's up? And I'm like, hey, man, I still have to, you know, portray a certain image. You know, I'm sorry. It just is what it is. And I had to figure it out. You know, within a short amount of time, I was able to get out of there and boom. But would I have changed things?
That was a paradigm shift for you, because you say it stuck with you to this day.
It still sticks with me. And I still, again, whether it be the Instagram thing or anything in my life, when I think about certain things, even if it's like a purchase, and it's like, look, it's my anniversary this week. You know, my wife doesn't listen to podcasts, so it doesn't really matter. But like, you know, I was like thinking, like, you know what? 10 years, I should upgrade her ring. Now, her ring is, even to the wealthiest or the biggest celebrity, is probably bigger than 95% of, you know, of a huge pop star or actress or whatever. It's probably bigger than most of their rings. Now, why the fuck do I need to upgrade that? Look, she's a very reasonable person on certain things, though. Like, a woman could never say no. You know, just not going to be like, yeah, of course. I fucked up by telling her I was going to get her a bigger ring on a 10-year anniversary. Like, you know? So this week, yesterday I went to my store and grabbed some small little things here and there. It's like, damn, she would never say no to jewelry. It's so wild. It's like, but of course, most women wouldn't, but just me, I just don't. I mean, I'm wearing these chains right now because I don't want to wear anything crazy, and they're just gold, just plain. I want to be able to go to the beach and have something on my neck, just real mellow, but you know, I've downsized everything else. I ended up picking up a few small things. And she came with me with is everything okay? And I was like, everything's fine. She goes, okay, well, we're still going here. I was like, yeah, baby, everything's good. What the fuck are you talking about? Because I didn't go crazy and get $1 million ring or something. You know what I mean? She thought maybe something was off. And I was like, and another thing too with me is, if you know what you're doing, and I tell people this, you own a home, even if you're renting a home, but if you own a home and you buy a diamond for the right price for your wife, fiance, whatever, if it's done correctly, that's money in the bank. That's going to be money in the bank. You're going to get it back. You lose it, guess what? Boom. Most likely after a couple of years, that money, that diamond's gone up in value. Now you've gotten the money to replace it and you're good. And just, that's why, they always say, rich people make, the rich get richer and all, stuff like that. So it's just, everything is a chess move, even with a diamond ring.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And it's so symbolic of your career, by the way, like always reinventing yourself and thinking, 10 moves ahead. Look, I know doesn't always go up in a straight line. As you said, even after the aftermath stuff, you ended up back at your sisters and so forth. And I know we're jumping around a little bit because I want to make every second count. But when you kind of segueing into the jewelry business, there was something that you said that really caught my attention, and it's very relatable to me. Like, you didn't want to be like another or the next Cartier. You wanted to be the first Ben Baller. You started to perceive yourself as a brand up there with everybody else. And you'll never be able to outdo your own perception of yourself. How did that paradigm shift come to fruition for you?
I was a DJ for a rapper signed to Aftermath. His name was Hitman. He wrote 70% of Dr. Dre 2001, Dre's most successful album. Dre's only had 2 solo albums, and they both are so iconic you can't really say which one. But it was a very big album, whatever.
It's crazy, only had 2 solo albums.
Hitman, on one of his singles, said, "You guys are trying to be the next Tupac. I'm trying to be the first Hitman." And he was such a lyrical bastard that fucked me up. And I was like, everyone's trying to be this guy, trying to be Jacob, trying to be Tiffany and Co, trying to be this. I'm like, no, man, I'm trying to be the first Ben Baller. My vision was so far ahead that people believe me, but, there's 1 million or more jewelers in the world.
Sure.
In downtown LA in the jewelry district, there's guys who have more money in inventory, more history, this and that. Nobody made those kind of moves that we made out of fucking 650 Hill Street. You know what I mean? Like, we made some iconic shit. People walk down the street and be like, how the fuck did this guy do it? I was like, I wish I could tell you, because I couldn't even tell you. I just know that I kept my head down and I focused on it. And, I think even beyond my uncle who taught me how to become a jeweler, and he was the one who originally had the original business, he still to this day thinks that I'm David Copperfield. He's like, I don't know. Tells my mom, he's like, I don't know how the fuck he did it. He's always been very shrewd, buying toys and selling them and shit, and buying candy and selling it, always trying to figure out a way to make money. He's gonna figure out some way to do something.
And you've always had that from early age when you were selling weapons and stuff like that. I imagine you got some of this from your mom.
Yeah, and I just think that my uncle, I'll randomly see him, like during the pandemic, I was getting masks, like N95 masks, and I saw him in the parking lot, in and out. And he just has this look on his face, like, he's like late 70s. He's like, you fucking motherfucker. He's like, you son of a bitch. I can't even tell you. Like, it's like, it's insane. That there's a logo there that is all over the place, from NFL, NBA to, Michael J, you name it. And it's just like, anytime I said a name, it blew him away. Then I was like, oh, you want someone? Okay, you don't respect it. Michael Jackson, you did. You don't respect Drake. You don't know all that. Now he understands the magnitude of where Drake is now, because I saw it early. And now it's all over the place. I don't care anymore. But like, I was like, all right, so what's going to catch your attention? Oh, a big, gigantic, soap opera star in Korea. Okay, the biggest actor in Korea, the biggest singer in Korea. Okay, let me get those guys too. So I go to Korea, boom, and that happens. And I'm like, listen, man, manifesting is a real thing. You just really go after a target. And at a certain point, I ain't gonna lie to you, like, that part was kind of boring. So where I'm at with where I'm in jewelry, as far as, I'm at now, this is going to be talked about 10 years from now, 50 years from now, 30 years from now. My pieces being in, all the metropolitan, museums across the globe, collaborating with Murakami and Cause and things like that. And maybe, who knows, there might be a Jeff Koons or maybe a Damien Hirst collab later. And, I just feel like, all right, well, where are we going with all these gigantic brands and doing these partnerships and things? that no one ever even thought about doing. They're just literally still stuck on trying to find the next celebrity to promote their piece. And it's like, man, that shit is so like, you guys are so analog still. You guys are still on some VHS shit. You're on a cassette tape. Like, bro, I'm beyond MP3 shit. I'm on some shit like, you know, like, so always creating, man, you know, always pivoting and always thinking of the chess moves.
And just to be clear, like, yes, you had a network from hip hop. You leveraged it a bit, but you still had to perceive yourself and have that vision. So I definitely want to acknowledge you for that, brother. There's a very specific chess move that you made. I think it was not too long ago. When you put on your website, only taking appointments now, 100,000 minimum. That was a big move. That was a big moment.
$250,000 now, but yeah, I did $100,000 minimum.
Wait. So today, if somebody wanted it, non-refundable,
$250,000 now. At 100,000, I had 19 signups immediately, and I got depressed. I was like, shit, this is the worst thing I could have ever did. So I refunded 11 of those people their money, and they're like, some of them were like, okay, cool, whatever, and then some of them were like, yo, you're an asshole. Like, why would you put this out there? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I didn't want to get stuck in that kind of work. Now, on top of that, too, not everyone has the creativity ready to go. You know, like not Tyler, the creator, or someone who has a fascinating mind, Kid Cudi or something. These guys like, hey, man, I got this idea for this dollar bill. And I'm like, damn, dog, this is a cash grab, and this is not going to do anything for my career. This is just going to make money. I'm like, this ain't going to further, you know, I'm not pushing the bar in the jewelry world. They're just getting a check.
And that's not what it's about for you.
You got the people in the background, like, people are starving, people are this, shut the fuck up. I'm not talking to you fucking low level, no, like just thinking so one-dimensional. Like, no, man, I came from nothing. I worked at Burger King. I worked shitty jobs. Don't tell me about what nothing. $0 is $0. I've been broke. Like, you can't, and I don't care for whatever reason. There's people who've succeeded and been in the Olympics with no legs. It's just like, look, I'm talking about something different. That is not going to push the bar. I am not going to become great by making a Benjamin Franklin or a dollar sign piece, you know, whatever, boom. Even if I come with the creativity, it's like, no, that's not it. You know, I'm not going to be in these video games continuously with my namesake and things like that. I'm not going to be in these songs for making bullshit. We got to change the game. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like enough for me to make, you know, a $600,000 cause Spaceman. It's Kid Cudi. He's one of the most famous weed smokers in the world. I made the goddamn spacesuit backpack open up so you could put a gram or 2 grams of weed in there. Do you know what I mean? I did certain things in there so he could put an air tag in there, you know, and have GPS on his chain now. It was that. And then when I put the $250,000, you know, in the fucking, you know, right before the pandemic, it's like, come on, man, who has this? All right, well, look, this ain't for you. I don't see people complaining to Rolls-Royce and being like, hey, man, lower your prices on the car. This is not for you. If you're looking at a Nissan Altima, what are you looking at? This is not for you. This is for motivational purpose. This is for people who aspire to have, you know, for people who live an affluent lifestyle. And, you know, I understood that.
This is gold. Yep.
Throughout the first recession that we've had in there's some as a younger kid here and there, but that 2008 to 2010 recession was no joke. I was ready to give up. And I was thinking about taking a job at a major jewelry house. And like, hey, I'm a very valuable person to you guys, you know, give me $1 million a year salary and let me show you what I can do. And it was like thinking about it, I had a pitch and everything. And then I was like, no, man, I have an all Korean staff. We're all family. Like, we got to figure something out. And it worked out. But, you know, you think about it and you're like, this is a luxury business. I am in a non-necessary, you know, necessary. This is like not at all essential, you know, to people's lives. I was like, all right, well, you know, let me attack that 0.001%, not even the 1%. And let me zone in, you know, hone in on them.
Yeah.
And I did. And so with this now, I'm booked until August 2023 now. And, you know, people are more patient. I love that 60% of these clients don't even want their names mentioned, don't want their things. it's like it's some rich Chinese kids, rich people from Singapore. It's some Saudi princess, even princesses that don't really have a lot of social media and don't want really out there, and they don't want the attention. And I've there's so many people I've left on red, and it's a different thing. I don't want to deal with headaches anymore. I know when a headache is coming. I still have my stressful shit every day, but I just realized some of these guys are just literally living in 2011, 2014, 2015. It's like, yo, you have not evolved. They're like, oh, I'm making money. That's great. Make your money. Cool. Look, man, I make money too. If I want to just do that shit, I would have succeeded at that. And it's a different thing. Like even when I'm working with my employees, I want one of these guys to be the next Ben Baller, even though they should be the next themselves, right? But I mean, at the same time, like trying to at least start there and be like, all right, why don't you, drive off and do your own thing. I'm not mad at anybody who's ever left my side and did better. The only problem is most people haven't, even though I've helped a lot of people. I want them to leave the nest and do better. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, it's competition, whatever, man. I don't even care anymore. I want to help people out. And when I talk to these guys now, I have a great team. It's just some of these guys are focused on different things. They're focused how much, people are going to like a picture, or how many dates they're going to get with girls, or whatever, and blah, blah. And I get it. They're younger, they have different interests. I know it's jewelry. It's not, I'm not changing technology with certain things. I'm not, creating an app to feed the poor, whatever, even though I do my level of charity. I still want to change the game, period. I want to make my mark in what I'm doing. And, it's not like it's an area that's not saturated. Again, I just told you there's millions of jewelers out there, and why is it me? Why am I the one that's been chosen to be the guy and go-to person? I'm ready for someone else to come in the game. That's fine. I don't really think about anybody as competition anymore. It's kind of like, I just really do me. I think I'm so self-obsessed with what's going on. I pay attention to a couple things here and there, and every so often I come out, I'm like, no evolution, zero evolution.
Yeah, this is gripping stuff, and it's very relatable to me because, long story short, I pivoted from Wall Street for the last 11 years, and I started my CLS brand, and I didn't do it for the money. For the first time in my life, like I've evolved and I've grown. And like, if you asked me years ago, I would have said success is measured by money. I was more immature then and maybe not enlightened. Now, my personal opinion is success is measured by how happy you are and how big an impact you make. And it's ironic that since I really stepped into what sets my soul on fire, I'm making more money now doing this stuff with the coaching and the podcast and the keynote speaking than I ever made on Wall Street. But for you, the similarity that I see is you're not doing this to take a check. You see yourself as a symbol and like quality, so to speak. And even just like putting it like, this is the minimum I'm taking right now, like take it or leave it. And you're aiming for that 1%. And then even more people are gravitating towards you because there's an aura about you.
Yeah. I mean, people say that. People say, when I walk into a room, they're like, oh, there's this folklore, Ben Baller. I'm like, man, look, I still go to Target, bro, by myself. I try to do as much normal shit as I can as possible.
But you created that. You earned it.
Yeah. I got to say, the only thing I've never, ever considered doing, though I was fascinated with it from knowing and being friends with Jordan Belfort, and my brother was a stockbroker at Shear Sleeman Hutton, Shear Sleeman Brothers before I was even Shear Sleeman Hutton. I was terrified of Wall Street. But I've always been fascinated by the Wall Street movies and Boiler Room and things like that. So that's look, dude, salute to you that you were in that business for a decade or so.
But I'm much happier now, brother, doing what I love to do and like what I was born to do. And essentially took me 35 years to find myself. But I love this stuff. People always like, what are you on? Like how are you so energetic? Look, like I spent a lot of time doing what was kind of soul sucking, and I genuinely love this stuff. But I appreciate the acknowledgement for sure.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I've one of my proteges, somebody who I say I mentored. When I met him, he had like $25,000. Some people say, "Hey, man, she had 25." No, dude, don't get me started on what he came here with his family, 4 sisters on top of him. Dad went to jail. Couldn't, from Lebanon, like this guy was like, had every possible negative thing going for him. And we met on an email. And today, Paul is got to be worth at least $25-30 million. And that's really a short amount of time in 9 years to because he was 19 when I met him or something. And I think about that. And he said one thing that was so simple and so silly. And again, it hit. He's like, life's about making, make your life easier. Why are you making your life more difficult, right? And I'm like, what'd you say? And he's like, he's just telling one of his employees, like, why are you making your life more difficult? It's like, life is about making things easier for yourself, making things convenient. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you sit and think about like how many subscriptions you have and how many this and this and all this other shit going on and how many pairs. And I've really tried to like downsize any material possessions and certain things. I went from 47 luxury watches down to 13. And I feel like even 13's kind of like, I bought an Apple Watch for the first time a month ago. It's fascinating, nice. And just certain things. It might be difficult to get down to like 4 cars for me, maybe, you know what I mean? But look, what I'm getting at is at least I know how to make money on all these things. But like clothes and shit like that may sound wasteful, but I do a lot of giveaways on my Twitter and on my Instagram. I give away a lot of name brand clothes. I give away, thousands of clothes. I just gave this kid $5,000 in Nike, all name brand clothes. And because I really want to get down to like, I went to a buddy of mine's house. He sold 1 million pairs of skinny jeans way back in the day. Dude was in jail for murder. I think his ex-fiance or something cheated on him, whatever, boom, got in a thing with fight. And I'm not saying I condone it, but it was just like he ended up going to jail for murder, comes out, starts a brand, crushes it, becomes super successful. I go to his Hollywood Hills mansion. And at that time, I was doing very well. And it was a beautiful house, all white and everything. And this dude looks like he looks like a homeless person, he just looks crazy. But he had great taste, so talented, so creative. And I walked into his master closet. It was enormous. It was like 1,000 square foot closet. And I'm not shitting you. He had 3 black t-shirts, 3 pairs of jeans, and he had like 2 leather jackets, and he had 4 pairs of black shoes. And I was like, you're fucking with me, man. Stop playing with me, bro. He goes, he had a bunch of underwear and socks. And he's like, and it was all Rick Owens. So if you know anything about Rick Owens, like, you could buy a pair of jeans for like $50,000 from Rick Owens. He had 3 things. He goes, I don't even wash anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you don't wash black clothes. You wear them over and over again. He just kept his life so simple with that.
Yeah, something to be said about that.
Went to his fridge, opened up. There was like 24 bottles of water lined up. There's a couple condiments here and there. I'm like, come on, bro. And he's like, no, I have a chef that comes every day and I don't want to have all this extra stuff here and there. And he just kept it really chill. Didn't want to have any kids or whatever. My house is totally different. I got 3 kids. They're wild as shit. They break everything in the house. We can't have nice shit anymore. That's why the man cave is like off limits for them. But, I just really think like, when you figure it out.
Yeah.
Some people who are like, look, my house looks lived in, it looks like there's there. And we have nice things, of course. But like, I've learned to give up my OCD as time has gone on. And it's actually helped my mental health, Yeah. And I think the people out there listening to this, it's like, look, you got a Benz, you want a Ferrari, you want something cool, man. All right, great. Keep it clean, take care of it. Don't let that car own you, don't let the person who by accident spilled ketchup on your Gucci shirt, don't let that ruin your day, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sure. I'm just being honest. It's like, look, man, you worked hard enough to get it. Boom, I get it. Or maybe it was a gift. Look, man, dude, do it again and get another one, man. It's like, there's so many, you're going to miss out. And I realized that when I would get mad about, oh man, this guy stepped in my shoes and blah, blah. There's a whole thing about all these things. It's like, man, you've missed now. You've missed a moment. Maybe, you let that change the outcome of your day. Now you've completely been consumed by this stupid thing, this stain or something small or little things. It's like, man, you've missed the greater points in life. So that's where I'm at. And I never thought I'd be at this place.
Yeah, I love it, buddy. There's something to be said for that. The only negative I got going on is we don't have 10 hours to chat. So much love and respect for you. We'll land the plane with this. And I know this could be a long answer, but I just real quickly, your take on it. I know you talk about being manifesting your destiny. And earlier in the conversation, you used the word manifestation. It's something that I got really big into recently, the law of attraction. I used to be skeptical about it because it's beyond my senses, but I can't talk about this stuff enough. For the first time, I loved in the quantum, like I'm having real-time manifestations. What is your position on law of attraction, manifesting, and stuff like that?
Laws of attraction, man. It's so powerful. Don't want to call it kinetic energy. It's just that, you know, when it could be with me and you, it could be with me and Captain Morgan, it could be with me and New Era, it could be with me and the NBA, it could be something you just, with the right people, have a conversation.
Connection, a vibe.
Yeah, you understand what's bullshit. This person's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's figure it out. Let's do it. Boom. After the second let's do it, it's not going to get done. It's just like these guys are just, you know, blowing smoke up guys. Then you meet the person like, hey, man, so we got this graph here. We figured this out, Ben, with all your stuff. I'm like, oh, shit. This person's serious. You know, respect is a two-way street. If you don't understand that, you know, all right, let me respect that person's time because I damn sure hope they respect my time, you know, and you think about something on a target, way before a blueprint, you see an image of a house, don't know what your target is. You see your name at crypto.com arena. You see your name in a magazine, whatever it may be. It's not enough to be in the magazine. It's not enough to have the certain things on there. There has to be some sort of substance behind that. You know, you don't want to be the dude who was mentioned once and no one thought about it again. You want to be the dude that people were like, oh, every time they look at that thing now, oh shit, that was Ben Baller. Damn. Becomes a pattern, you know? Manifestation becomes infectious.
Ooh.
You start realizing, hey, guess what? I'm going to have this. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to take over my kid's life, their direction, until they understand where they're going, you know, set that all up. And I know people be like, what the fuck is he talking about? I don't need Operation Varsity Blues. I don't need to cheat. I don't need to do all that stuff. There are ways to figure these things out. It's difficult. No one ever said life was going to be easy,
Nope.
you know, but with right preparation and proper planning, you know, you have to be able to turn tragedy into triumph, you know, and that's the thing that people don't understand. It's sometimes I look back and I'm like, damn, man, that was 7 years. Down there was 6 years. And some people are like, yeah, it just took forever. And they're not realizing, like, you're so focused on getting the money today, tomorrow, next week. How about focus on getting the money, period? Because you've given up somewhere between now and 3 years or now and 5 years, and you don't realize manifestations sometimes take a little longer. Do you know what I mean? You think about even like with acting or something, you know, you get one job or boom, and it could be your break or make or whatever. And it's just like, you have to always stay ready. You know, if you're not prepared to especially in whatever field you're in, whether it be what you're doing with stocks, with business, with mentoring and things like that, you know, you can't go to your school and not be ready to answer a simple question about, hey, I'm 27 now, I make $10,000 a year. Hey, Craig, what's my next move? And you'd be like, oh man, go buy some Bitcoin. I don't know. Don't bother me. You know, I mean, you have to really understand how powerful, you know, what you say might, you know, people, I realize all the time, like, damn, man, they took that shit to heart. Like, wow, I got to be careful. You know, people really have put me on a pedestal and, you know, they're looking for real guidance. And I'm not necessarily.
It's not my favorite word, but you have influence, brother.
Yeah. And, you know, so I just think like, don't focus on manifesting meeting Justin Bieber. Please don't. Not even on a chick. A better thing would be you like the way that Kevin Durant does business. This man has been involved in Postmates, the company that makes all the speakers for Louis Vuitton, one of the highest end audio companies, Master Dynamic. He's been involved in Coinbase. He's been involved in numerous insane investments. Now you respect him as a ball player, you respect him as a businessman. Now you're manifesting this guy's going to buy one of your companies, or you guys are going to do business together. And there's ways to align that up if you're in there. And I see it myself even. I've been in these situations where I'd be like, that guy's making moves over there, okay? People don't understand how small the world is. You know what I mean? We're behind a computer. You're across the country from me. It doesn't matter if you were in Thailand. If I needed to get next to you, I know it's that powerful in my brain that I will manifest it. This is what I wanted. I'm going to figure out a way to get a business next to CLS in Thailand. I don't know what the goal is. Maybe I put it at 2 years or 3 years, but realistically, I'm trying to do it in 10 months. And I figure out how to get next to them. Boom. Someone's like, what is this BB logo? What the hell? I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? How you doing? I'm Ben. Oh, I'm Craig. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Oh, CLS. Okay, cool. He doesn't know. You don't know that I've been thinking about this and getting next to your business and being there. So you see these logos and boom, and then you make that serendipity happen. You know what I'm saying? Almost in a forceful way, but it's part of manifestation. You have to set up all your your blueprint and things like that, and have a plan of attack. You don't just manifest and be like, oh, it's gonna happen one day. Oh, how's it gonna happen? Oh, I'm just gonna keep thinking about it, and I'm gonna go to sleep, and one day I'm gonna wake up, and there it is. No. You know what I mean? Like, no. There's going to be some detours. There's going to be a lot of obstacles. There's going to be peaks and valleys. There's going to be everything else until you get to the ebbs and flows. And you're like, all right, cool. But I just think like I've gotten that formula down now to where, all right, here it is. I want to be a top 10 podcast against these 10 companies that all have at least a $10 million marketing budget. And I don't have that. So, or I'm not going to spend that. How do I get there? All right. Do I need to get a deal with someone else? Do I need to figure something with this person? How do I do this? Do I need to get these guests? Let me do some homework. Let me figure this out. All right. Then you get there. All right, cool. Now you got there, Ben. You're a top 10 podcast. All right. So what's your goal? Was that it? No. I have a powerful platform now. Let me do some good. Let me encourage people to help other people. Let me encourage people to go across the street and shake your neighbor's hand. They think you're crazy. Oh, fuck that guy. Why did he knock on my door? You know what, dog? People need to communicate with each other more. It's one thing I like about New York over LA. I'm an LA dude to the day I die. But for the first time, I've considered leaving my hometown, maybe for good, because it's just weird.
Wow.
When I lived in New York for a year, one thing I loved is, and it was like during 9/11, I realized it. Everyone came together. New York is so packed together. There's no way you can avoid anybody. You have to deal with people. And that's what makes New Yorkers so unique. And I always loved that about New Yorkers, the way they were. Their swagger was different. I almost feel like a dude from New York could be like just a joker dude, right? But he had a lot of charisma and stuff. He can go to anywhere and make money. I truly believe that,
Same.
And that's what I mean, like right now with me, what I want to manifest is, is again, changing things for the good, also letting people know and not focusing too much emphasis on it, because I don't want to like make things political or racial, but I am an Asian American who, came from an immigrant family. And I do want Asian people to look up to me, not for the sense of I want them to be me on some narcissist type shit, but on some like, hey man, this guy did it with less than I had starting out. Yes, times are different, but he manifested his goals. Boom. Now I want you to do the same thing. If you fail, guess what? I said this on my last show. I don't have the story where I tell you Ben Baller's lifetime record in success or anything all over, like career record. I'm not 713. I'm not 107. I'm not 313 and 9. Dude, I'm like 3,500 and 930 losses. You know what I mean? I've had so many L's, and those L's have made me who I am. And I just
shape us.
People laugh at it, but people have given up. Where are you now, dude? All right, you were talking all that shit before. Where are you now? Nowhere. All right. I kept going and I kept learning. Sometimes I couldn't ask anybody for advice, and that's actually a handicap, that I've become so independent that I focused on this that I didn't want to get help from somebody when people were trying to offer it. It becomes a crazy thing. Anyways, you become attracted to people like that. That's why that energy that we have in certain things, why I can talk like this freely without even thinking about it at all. Manifestors, attract each other. Haters attract each other. They become, they join a crew, you know what I mean? They create more unsuccessful hater crews and try to hate on you, boom. But I mean, you see that. Why do you think, you see someone who's super successful, whether it be like a Gates or a Bezos or something, and they're like, yo, man, this guy's really brilliant, man. We got to figure something out together, and you just, that law of attraction, whether it be a woman or anything, and again, it's not always about money. It could be your life partner, it could be your wife. My wife was my lucky charm. The fuck is my dog doing? I'm about to knock this dog out. But it's a powerful thing. I am a firm believer of it. I have always been afraid of things that were out of my control. Drove me crazy, gave me anxiety. And even though you say, oh, well, it's laws of attraction, it's beyond me, it's this, I was skeptical at first. It's not beyond you, bro. You have control of it. That's why it's manifest destiny. You know what I'm saying? It's in your mind. You figure it out. I don't know if that was that's the best way I can describe it.
This was an awesome conversation, brother. And thank you so much for speaking freely and feeling that connection and just being so authentic as you always are. Again, only negative I got going on is we don't have 10 hours. Just hit 1 million downloads. It's exploding right now.
Congrats.
I say very humbly, thank you, brother. What's the best way for the audience to support you, Ben?
Honestly, to tell you the truth, I think at this point right now, I don't care about followers or anything like that. I mean, I would love for people to subscribe to the Behind the Baller podcast. I would like people to, I think if you like jokes and sports rants and things, my Twitter page, but really, I think the podcast is where the strength is, because I offer free game. It doesn't cost anything if you have an iPhone already, you have Spotify, whatever it may be. Anywhere you listen to a podcast, my podcast is there. And I think at that point,
I love the way you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how can I personally support you, Ben?
Bro, I'm good, man. I think personally supporting me, but by just keeping that same energy. I think that intro that you gave me in the beginning of this show was beyond enough. You don't need to do anything else after that. I'm gonna listen to that a bunch of times and just be like,
if you like that, let me know how you like this outro. Ben, I want you to know you're the definition of resilience, grit, heart, and innovation, from your early days in the music industry to becoming the jeweler to the world's biggest and greatest names. You're a true entrepreneur, role model, and beacon of hope for anyone coming up today with big goals and aspirations. I could personally guarantee your best is yet to come. Keep on spreading your wings and making your mark on the world. So much love and respect for you. Thank you so much for stopping by and dropping these priceless nuggets today, Ben.
Thank you so much, Craig. I really appreciate you, man.
This was awesome. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Too much fun. I know we went over, but thank you so much, brother. I just want to build a friendship.
Bro, million trip, whatever, it's all good. That's one thing that it's when I do a 20-minute interview, just know we never got shit done, because I just I'm like, fuck, man. This was there was nothing forceful. I had no idea what the fuck you were going to talk about. I just felt like it was, you got one of my good ones. You got one of my real, just free-flowing game interviews.
I love that. I'm going to tag you on some stuff on Instagram and we'll connect there. And I'd love to
let me know, friendship. Bro. Thank you so much, man. And you're in New York, right?
Yeah, I live here. You coming out anytime soon?
Yeah, I go to New York like every other month. So I didn't go this month, so I'll be there next month. My agency's in New York too. So I usually stay right there by Central. Just don't record this part. But yeah, I always stay right by Central Park. So
I'm on the East River.
Okay.
I'd love to grab a coffee if you're around. That's
one thing I love to do. One thing I love to do in college is I really had to stop the pizza shit, because I was like, God damn, man. I was eating a whole pie, But yeah, man, bagels and coffee, I'm down.
Okay. I'm going to DM you my number.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother. Have a great night, Ben.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Take care, buddy.
All right. Bye.